Welcome to the DeFi Standard. This is Patty XRP, and today we're going to dive into how the FlareLoans protocol works, as well as what it is modeled after. So, with that, we're going to dive into some documentation. We're going to compare it to some other stablecoins that are currently out there. And then also, I have a really great graphic from Jacko, one of the mods in the Flare Finance Discord, that has been putting together some nice infographics to visually explain, what's going on between the different protocols within the XFi V2 platform. So if you're not in the Flare Finance Discord, highly suggest you join that. There's a lot of information there, and I can add the link in the description of this video. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move into our analysis here. So this website is help.flr.finance, and it has all the documentation so far for the protocols that are live in XFi v2. If you want to find out more information about these protocols, you can go to their white paper, which is available through their website, flr.finance. And I can provide these links in the description below as well. So let's start off with what FlareLoans is. It's a decentralized borrowing protocol that allows the user to draw interest-free loans against Songbird and wrap Songbird used as collateral. Loans are paid out in Canary dollars, a USD peg stablecoin, and need to maintain a minimum collateral ratio of 110%. Additionally, moving on down here, the Canary dollar is a token with value pegged to $1. This price stability is achieved by the overall design of the protocol forked from the Liquidity protocol, which we'll touch on here in a sec, including the required collateralization, stability pool, redemptions, liquidations, and recovery mode. So Liquidity is a rather new protocol. I believe it launched in the spring of this year. So with that, I just want to pull up their website right here. This is liquidity.org. And basically, they use Ethereum, last time I checked, solely as the collateral, and it requires 0% interest. However, I would argue a borrowing fee is just like a one-time interest payment up front. However, it doesn't accrue over time. It's all paid up front, and you technically never have to pay back your loan. As long as you maintain that collateral ratio that's required, you could keep that loan out till you die, pretty much. At that point, if nobody else is watching it, I guess it could become under collateralized and get liquidated. However, to me, that's really powerful that you're not going to have to meet, timely interest payments like once a month or twice a month or whatever that may be. Also, the borrowing fee for FlareLoans when I first did my first collateralized debt position with a nest there was around 0.5%. I think it's at like 0.63% right now. So that's incredibly cheap compared to, the traditional monetary system as far as getting a loan. However, it definitely comes with more risk as you're having to manage collateral and things of that nature. So, with that more risk that you take on, you don't have to pay as much in interest, which I think is really great if you're a person that's kind of willing to keep an eye on it and just do best practices as well as safety. So with this, Liquidity over the course of like its first 6 months has almost accrued $2.7 billion in total value locked. I think that's very impressive, especially when they have other competition on the Ethereum blockchain like DAI. So moving over here, I just want to look at how this peg for Liquidity USD has worked, and this is LUSD. So right now it has a market cap of close to $720 million. That's pretty large for how many stablecoins they have issued. So congrats to them on that. Additionally, you can see in the beginning, as this model worked out, they definitely had periods where the stablecoin will float above and below the price of $1. So this will be interesting to see what happens with Canary dollars and then also YUSD when we finally get Flare launched and Flare Finance launches there. So with this, definitely some rough periods to start. We had a lot of market volatility when they launched going through, July. And now we're seeing we've gotten to the point where in October of this year, they had one dip. I assume this is market falling back at this point. And then actually they're having much tighter spreads since then. So that's pretty interesting. And if we go to look at one of the longest, lasting decentralized stablecoins out there, which is DAI from MakerDAO. And with that, they similarly in, the first, what is this, 8, 9 months of their protocol being live, had a lot of volatility in the stablecoin price around the $1 peg. However, you get into a year later of this thing being out there, and the spreads have become incredibly tight. So, I'm curious to see what happens with Flare Finance and their FlareLoans version, both on Songbird and Flare Network in the future. However, this is just something to keep in mind with decentralized stablecoins, and this even happens with like USDC and Tether as well. They will, bounce around on the peg, so that's something you want to keep in mind as to how you want to utilize these stable coins in the future. Certainly, you wouldn't want to be selling off the stable coins at a discount, and you actually would get if you bought the stable coin at around $1 and then it moved up to $1.08, well, you could now, you basically got price appreciation on it and could sell it back into some other asset. So there are some mechanisms around this to maintain the peg, which we're going to jump into next. So let's see, redemptions. That's what we want to look at. And this is something I would, highly cautious about using at this point. It's kind of harder to understand and generally meant for bots to use. It's something that you probably will never get the chance to manually go and click in because people just have some bots, running on the internet, scraping data. And when they see this opportunity is available, will jump on it in, a microsecond or something like that. So, with this, a redemption is the process of exchanging Canary dollars for Songbird at face value, as if one Canary dollar is exactly worth one USD. This is effectively creating a price floor for Canary dollars so that it closely follows the US dollar. Users can redeem their Canary dollars for Songbird at any time without limitations. However, a redemption fee might be charged on the redeemed amount. Also, when redemptions start happening frequently, the borrower fee paid when taking out a new loan increases. So, with this, essentially, what's happening, let's say the Canary dollar has fallen lower than the $1 peg that it's trying to maintain, and let's say it's trading at 95 cents. Essentially, what will happen is, individuals, bots, or, whoever is doing this is going to take Canary dollars that they own and give them back to the system so that it reduces the supply of Canary dollars on the market and starts raising that price floor back to $1. And in exchange, you'll get Songbird as if the rate for Canary dollars was still $1. So essentially, you're getting a little premium compared to what that Canary dollar is worth on the open market. And this is one mechanism that maintains that $1 peg in situations where it becomes unpegged and starts to vary. And then moving on to this next part where I want to touch on liquidations. So when a nest collateral ratio falls under the 110% minimum or under TCR in recovery mode, which we'll cover next, it is possible to liquidate that loan. Any user of the platform can do that, and they are rewarded by gas compensation, which is 0.5% of the liquidated nest collateral plus 100 Canary dollars for this service. This is effectively creating a price ceiling for Canary dollars. So essentially, when people become under collateralized, it means that the collateral backing the supply of Canary dollars you took out is too low for it to maintain its peg. So when people get liquidated, it will start bringing this like USD peg back into alignment as well, along with the redemptions. So those are the two things that are kind of managing the peg. Additionally, liquidations have implications for the debtor and for the stability providers, which we'll touch on this when we get into our diagram later on. And the next thing that's really important to know that you should keep an eye on if you are going to take out a loan from FlareLoans, recovery mode automatically turns on when the system's collateral ratio falls below 150%. I think the system's TCR right now is like 180%, so it's really not even close to this. And the purpose is to incentivize users to behave in ways that bring the TCR back above 150%. So essentially, what's going on here is when you have collateral at least 150% or higher, Right now, that's a parameter saying this is a relatively safe nest that's probably not going to get liquidated in the blink of an eye. So if everybody had their collateral ratio at 110%, well, if the price crashes, 10, 15% for the collateral in a short period of time, which can happen in crypto, that could basically make the whole system go insolvent. So this is a way to kind of protect against that as well. So recovery mode measures. Nests with a collateral ratio below the TCR can be liquidated. So this means if we're in recovery mode and your nest has 145% collateral ratio, then you could actually be liquidated at this point. And then additionally, the minimal collateral ratio for opening a new nest is 150%. And then collateral cannot be lowered on nests during this period until the TCR comes back above that level. And also debt cannot be increased on those nests as well. Also, the last part is the borrow fee is set to 0%. And I think the idea here is to incentivize people to take out loans with really high collateral ratios. So that could also help bring the TCR back above the 150% level. This may be something that, let's say you're looking at taking a loan and maybe the TCR is floating around like 153%. Certainly, you could watch and see if it falls below to 149% and take advantage of a free loan. So I think that's an interesting component as well. And moving into our diagram here, so you guys can see kind of the flows of how this works. And like I was saying earlier, this is available in the Flare Finance Discord, and it's from Jacko, one of their mods, who's really great and has made several of these for Flare Finance and XFi. So with this, we're going to have debtors. They have to at least have collateral over 110%. And however, it's recommended, like we talked about with that TCR metric, that it's over 150%. So essentially, what they'll do is deposit Songbird or Wrap Songbird, and there'll be many more assets in the future, F assets and things of that nature that can be used in this. And they will be able to manage that through their nest. Additionally, they can take out debt, which right now is an $1,800 minimum. However, it's my understanding this will be lowered in the future, and it's just to kind of slow roll the load on the network starting out. Moving on down here, we talked about redemptions, which are generally going to be carried out by bots when the peg for Canary Dollar has fallen below $1. Additionally, liquidations can occur when people have their collateral fall below 110%. And this also will help create a price ceiling on Canary Dollars by essentially paying back that bad debt. So with this, the other like really important part, which has been a large topic of discussion for the FlareLoans protocol, is that there's individuals called stability providers. And what they do is they take the stablecoin issued from the FlareLoans protocol and they will deposit that in the stability pool. So what happens when you're in a stability pool? Well, essentially, if people get liquidated, then whatever your share in the pool of Canary Dollars is going to be used to help pay back bad debt from liquidated loans to maintain the solvency of the protocol. So this is extremely important, especially when a lot of the pools within Flare X that people are going to want to swap through and all that are going to be using YUSD. Crypto to stablecoin pools are also probably the most widely used liquidity pools on an AMM DEX out there across the entire DeFi space, because most of the time, a lot of people are trying to move in and out between a volatile asset and a relatively stable asset. So I believe that's why we see it. Additionally, for depositing this Canary Dollars in the pool, and the fact that you're over time likely to lose some of these stable coins that you placed in this pool, you are going to get reimbursed essentially with the liquidated collateral, which in this instance is Songbird, and then also some additional incentives, which is DFLR. And DFLR is convertible for YFLR on Flare Network in the future once that's live, and Flare Finance is live there as well. Once we move out of this kind of XFi phase and into Songbird Finance, this would more than likely be SFIN as the additional reward for doing this, or on Flare Finance, it will be YFIN. So, right now it's a little weird because essentially the DEX is trading at like roughly 5 to 10%, depending on what time you look at it. The Songbird token is trading at a 5 to 10% lower value there because a premium has been placed on Canary dollars in order to earn DFLR because it's needed, whether it be in Flare Farm or in FlareLoans to earn DFLR. So people are willing to pay more for it at this point in time than they would for USDT with Songbird. However, the team's currently working on getting Flare Wrap up and running and moving some USDT on to the Songbird network, in which it looks like they would have a Canary dollar to I guess it'd be YUSDT. That's how they'll denominate a wrapped stablecoin. And so this will be a stablecoin to stablecoin pool, which will allow people to conduct arbitrage between exchanges listing Songbird with USDT and the Flare X pool with Songbird to Canary dollars. And this will start bringing kind of that relationship between what is the Oracle price and what is the DEX current price. It'll start bringing those more into an equilibrium and in line with each other over time as that comes out. So, with this, hopefully that gives you a, good explanation or, somewhat of how FlareLoans is going to operate. In the future, it's going to have many different collateral types. I don't know if we'll see different collateral ratios, if maybe more volatile / risky assets are added into this, but that's something we'll have to see how it goes in the future. And certainly it will be up to governance of either XFi and SFIN holders on Songbird or YFIN and YFlare holders on Flare Finance in the future. So with that, this is the DeFi Standard. I'm Patty XRP, and I'm out.